First day in pads for the Titans at training camp. Here was head coach Mike Vrabel after the practice to talk about his team's progress.
Are you, Mike?
Great.
Mike, first day of pads, how nice was it to have, Robert Woods, Farley both out there and taking another step in their recovery?
It's just another step. I don't think that, really it wasn't, I didn't give it much thought. I just want to make sure that what they're doing is helping them and that they're progressing and they keep responding well to the work that they're doing. And then, I think that there's pretty much a full workload. There's a couple of drills that they're not doing, but we've known that for a while.
Golly McCrary gets his hands on 4 or 5 different passes today. Does that make you eager to want to go see the film of him today to see how he did it and what he's improved on?
Well, I know how he did it. He's competitive. He's usually on body. Kind of a lot of the same things that we saw in the evaluation process. We can continue to learn, and he rarely makes the same mistakes twice. He's a very coachable player, and it's good to see him, disrupt the football.
In general, what did you see from the big guys in the trenches with the first day in pads?
I'll take a look at it here on film, but there were some good runs and some leakage, and then sometimes guys getting in the middle of the pocket. I thought the defense did a nice job, in the red zone.
I apologize.
That's okay.
Ryan talked about, though he's not throwing to Phillips that much, seeing what he's doing in reps with the other 2 quarterbacks and that kind of influencing his thinking about him at this stage. How much can a guy sway the quarterback in reps that he's not even having with the quarterback?
Well, I think the quarterbacks obviously watch every single rep, and they watch and see who's open. They know who's open, and sometimes, we tell those guys, you can't control when you get the football. You can just control, if you're open or not. And then whether you turn and finish if you don't get the football. And Kyle's trying to do that, and he's trying to get open. And, sometimes we get him the ball, and sometimes, the quarterback doesn't. So that's what I think the quarterbacks see is, man, these guys are winning. And, how quick and decisive I think sometimes you have to be, especially down in the red zone. So, you look one way, and you're thinking that you like a matchup. And, I'm sure that they'll have plenty of opportunities to hook up with each other.
How's he doing, and do you think he'll see some higher-ranking corners, maybe, Kyle?
It is what it is inside. He's usually going to get the nickel. He's going to get the nickel, and, wherever that matchup lies, I think that, it's early on. He's doing a nice job catching punts and, like you said, winning and getting open.
Anything in particular you talk to receivers about, like at the top of routes? Trying to get separation, but you don't want to be too obvious.
Yeah, the extended 2-hand push is going to be something that, especially going away from the football, coming back towards the football is going to be something that they're going to see, and that one usually gets called. I just think trying to be, as physical as you can, working your flipper, working your pad level. Some of the big guys playing big, some of the smaller guys maybe trying to avoid some of that contact. But right now, I think that we're going to try to err on the side of being aggressive and then being able to dial back based on what they're calling.
Brooks have a propensity for that, maybe?
Which one? I think that would be an example of us trying to say be physical at the top, and then now we have to dial them back down and saying, okay, these are things that they're going to call. But I've said it since I've been here that I was going to take the first offensive pass interference down the field. Like, just if they're going to grab and, play physical against us, I want guys to, play physical as well. And then if they call it, I'll say, okay, that's on me, and let's dial it back.
With Burks and McCrary, we're seeing them a lot one-on-one. We're seeing Burks and McCrary a lot going against each other one-on-one. Is that intentional, and what are some of your takes on that?
Well, I think everything's intentional out there. I think whether we expect that or they want to do that, I think that they understand, both young players, both looking to define a role here through this training camp, and that they want to compete against each other and try to make each other better. For the Tampa Bay practice and Arizona.
What do you want to hear from them, or what do you want to know from them?
Well, we talk strongly about the idea between points of emphasis and basically some clarification, right? We'd rather would likely do away with the points of emphasis. We'd like to emphasize the rules and not just specific ones, so that, if human nature says, well, if the league wants us to emphasize this, maybe we should call it more. That's not what it's not what I want as a head coach and somebody that's, on the competition committee. I think we should have some clarification on what offensive holding is and where we want to call it, so that you can start to build some consistency between each crew week in and week out. I think that's the most important thing. So talk to them about the clarification, about some of the things that we talked through the off season. I want them to meet with our players. I want them to be in meetings. I want them to watch practice. I want there to be dialogue between the officials and the players. I want the players to understand how they need to talk to these officials during a game if something's going on. Sometimes our interior linemen get held, trying to get to the second level. They need to know who they need to go and talk to. There's only one official that can call it, the deep judge, and need to go explain to him. He can't complain to anybody else. There's only one guy to tell. So just a lot of those intricacies on the rules and who's calling what and what each official's mechanics are. I think that can help the players.
What do you stress and what do you want your position coaches to harp on during these individual periods that we see out here each day?
Well, fundamentals are critical. I would like to try to have a football team that is strong fundamentally, that plays with the correct technique, and then obviously the effort. Those are things that we'd like to see come out of those individual drills. We want to have great fundamentals and techniques, and sometimes there's things you do every single day. We call those developers, and then sometimes there's specific drills based on a new coverage going in, or maybe the offense is putting in some zone read plays that you have to do some different things specifically, and not something that you do every day. So there's everyday developers, and then sometimes the specific things that they add each day.
What are the advantages of the length that you guys have on defense when you're working stuff like speed to power?
Well, speed, it helps you get on the guy before he's maybe ready, or he's put his feet in the ground. We would like to teach it properly. That's something that they're looking at, the use of the helmet. Sometimes that guys have a tendency to get their head in and be in a linear position. We would like to lead with our hands and our face, and making sure that we're continuing to run our feet, on contact, to try to, once these tackles get moving, if you can, come back and put your momentum back towards the quarterback.
You don't like to talk about last year. I'm wondering how you incorporate things you want to be different from last year, maybe things that didn't go the way you wanted, into
not talking about last year.
Yeah, but how do you change?
Just saying that's I think we can learn from those things, and just saying where we were in the red zone or what we did. We had 9 situations. I try to tell the team we had 9 situations where we were 3rd and goal last year, which I didn't. That doesn't seem like a lot compared to some of the other teams that I started to watch. I guess we're just pretty efficient on 1st and 2nd down. But we scored on 6 of those 9, and on another one we got a DPI, and I think that's a pretty good number. We scored on those, and the plays that we scored on were stuff that we ran in OTAs. There was a consistent theme of things that we had a lot of confidence in and a lot of work on. And so the message is, all these reps that we had and that were base fundamentals, it wasn't like we scored on scheme plays. We scored on plays that, we had been running throughout, training camp, and the ones that we, a lot of those that we were going to run today and this week.
How about something on the other side, something that you did?
Yeah, probably. I just think it's, whether it's ball disruption or, getting beat inside. Some of these things you don't have to revert back to last year. It's just kind of how we want to teach them.
Ryan throw a pick so far in camp. He looking particularly.
I think he's been pretty decisive, and I think he's been accurate. I think there's some throws today I'm sure he'd like to have back. That may, hopefully, that's just kind of being down in the red zone for the first time, and it's early, but I obviously think that's a step in the right direction, is how we want to practice.
He didn't think that today's practice, he didn't think that the offense played clean. What was your kind of evaluation, knowing that you're evaluating both the offense and the defense?
Yeah, it's hard to have both of them have a good day. That's kind of tough. So it's probably that's pretty probably factual. Just the fact that I don't think 7-on-7 was as good. When that's a drill we expect the offense to really excel in with no pass rush, and good plays on both sides. I think we can learn from that third group. Talk to Malik about stringing some really good plays, some positive plays. Just put some positive plays together down in the red zone, taking care of the football. They did that on 2 plays. The third down play, we move, which, then wanted to make sure they knew that was going to be 3rd and 10. Talk to him about taking care of the football in this situation. Like, we've got 3 points. Let's not try to force something here. I want him to understand what I'm thinking as a head coach in that situation. 3rd and 10 early in the game on the 15-yard line. Like, okay, we made one mistake. Let's not make another. And then the snap's low, and then we, takes a sack, which I'd rather take a sack than, throw an interception, what have you. But we can at least teach from that and just say, hey, listen, we had 2 positive plays, and then let's look and see how this third down play developed.
Talking about earlier about like Traylon and Roger, and I'll throw Chig in there. How encouraging is it to have the rookies kind of being impactful this early in camp and like being up to speed?
Yeah, the better they do and the more reps that they earn and continue to try to define their role, we put them in there. And the more that they can handle and the more that they take advantage of the opportunities that they get, they earn more opportunities. So whether they're rookies or 8th-year players, 3rd-year players coming from another team, whatever it may be, it's important that they continue to have the evaluation process, that we can see what they can do, how much they can handle, and then, if we need to pull back or dial back a little bit, we can.
Mike, how important are the 6 quarters on the fence to you, and is there an extra value of having it out here? It's like a reminder every day when they walk in.
I don't know. I like it. It's what we believe in. It's all those types of things as far as how we want to play. And if they look up and they're glancing around, hopefully that those are some things that they can appreciate on how we want to play.
Is full tilt getting the circle just a graphic design thing or a particular point of it?
No, full tilt to the tackle is how we want to play defensively. We need 11 guys going to the football. And you can always identify a loaf if you see a guy that's jogging and then all of a sudden somebody breaks a tackle and then they speed up, or the ball gets knocked out, then they speed up. We would rather have it the opposite way, where you're running at a certain rate, and within, we usually tell them 10 yards in practice. Within 10 yards, you can kind of figure out if you need to, throttle down or continue to take an angle to the football. That's all we ask them, is that we go full tilt to the tackle. And if somebody makes a tackle, then you can start to throttle down. And if not, and your services are needed, then we need you to keep going.
Nicholas Petit's technique. What do you think of Dylan's technique with the pads on today?
Well, I'm going to go watch the tape. I think that he had a couple good plays. Again, I'm trying to watch the entire thing. I don't know if there's something that's going to be glaring. We talked to him about the punch, talked to him about keeping his head out of there when he punches and making sure that we're not lunging. So I know that there's going to be some positive plays. I know that we got the edge on him one time. We were able to, he was able to get out there and get the edge for us, and we ran around the edge for some positive yards. But I can't tell you until I go back and watch. Sorry, go ahead. I know you've been trying to get one in.
Nicholas Petit-Frere said he feels you do a particularly good job of building some camaraderie between some of the offensive rookies. Chig mentioned the same thing. Is there anything specific that you feel like you do or preach to them to make them feel like a unit as a rookie core, kind of?
Well, they're all in this together. I just try to do what I think is best for the team every single day, and individuals every day. So, they are all going through the same thing. They're all trying to figure this thing out, this pro football, and where they fit, and how they can continue to improve. And the practices and the getting banged up and the installation and the long days, and we try to put as many people around them, give them as many points of contact that we possibly can.